great to be back. I don't know about you, but I'm already having a fantastic day, meeting old colleagues, old friends. I hope to make many more new friends today. I'm here today to talk about the shift to contextual. As we all know, as I've talked to many of you this morning about, contextual is not new. So I'm just going to talk about that shift, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can implement that effectively across multi-channel. I forgot I have a clicker here. And here we are. And this is me. This is a younger me. This was pre-babies. For those who know me, I've got 2 children under the age of 18 months. And so I just came back from maternity leave yesterday, baptism of fire today. So this is me. Save that till the end. Wait till you hear what I've got to say. So this is me, younger me, and I'm the VP of Sales for StackAdapt for Asia Pacific. So I'm not new to Singapore. I'm not new to programmatic. I have had a couple of years break, not with my babies, but moving out of programmatic. So I'm really glad to be back in this really exciting space. What is StackAdapt? Well, we are a self-serve advertising platform. We are not new. We were founded in 2013 in Canada. We are new to Asia, though, so I joined in February of this year to help launch and lead the growth of StackAdapt across the region. So we have offices at the moment in Australia and Singapore, and we hope to expand. So I'm going to talk a little bit about not what we do, but what are we doing in our industry about contextual. So here's the agenda. So I'm just going to cover off setting the stage, what is contextual, why the shift. I'm going to talk about the comeback. So again, it's not new, but why is it coming back? Why is it back in the forefront, back on the menu? And I'm also going to talk about how does this drive performance, because that's one of the most important things, right? So starting with setting the scene. So contextual is not new, but over the last decade, we've been highly reliant on third-party audiences. So now with the imminent depreciation of the cookie, marketers are becoming more nervous about what is coming next, and not nervous about contextual. What is contextual? So research shows us over the last few years that 49% of marketers are worried about the future, and 12% of those are worried about adopting contextual. So why? Well, why the comeback? Well, we now have machine learning. We now have artificial intelligent tools that can help us with contextual targeting. We can use tools like natural generalization to help us target effectively through contextual. So for textual targeting is quite simply a cookieless solution, which is obviously very critical now. It's a cookieless solution, and as more and more countries worldwide adopt data privacy, it will become more and more relevant. So, the comeback of contextual. So we know that there is the imminent depreciation of the cookie. We know that browsers are limiting with intelligent tracking prevention from Safari, with enhanced tracking prevention. Chrome plans to not support anymore, and iOS is requiring opt-in device ID targeting. So, contextual targeting is a cookieless solution, and quite simply, what is it? Well, quite simply, it's based on content, site content. It's based on, it does not rely on cookies. It captures the audience's intent, and it increases that ad engagement. So contextual has also evolved, so it has developed over the last few years. We now can effectively actually target by keyword and also optimize to performance by keyword as well. So we can do that as well with our artificial intelligence through platform. So, performance, the most important part. So research from our friends at IAS show us that 80% of consumers will stay more engaged with the ad if it's relevant to the content. 51% of consumers are more likely to remember the ad if the message relates to the content around it. And 74% of consumers have a favorable perception of brands when the ad message relates to the content. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that if the ad is relevant, it's more memorable, it's more favorable, it's more receptive. Ultimately, the user is more likely to convert, enhancing performance. So what other insights do we have on contextual? Well, we know that the brand message gets into the user's mind. We know that it's good for low funnel conversion. However, it's not as effective for clicks. And that's because the user is engaged in their content, so less likely to click away. What other insights do we have? Well, we know it delivers the message to a consumer in a specific frame of mind. So another thing that we can do is interplay the creative message accordingly. So I'm going to finish off with a bit of a case study, a bit of an example of when we have actually looked at our own campaigns on our own platform. So we looked at campaigns across 1,000 different comparisons. These campaigns were all driven towards CPA. They were across all verticals, and they were head-to-head compared to retargeting. And what we found was 22% of the time, contextual is more likely to convert. And then actually 2.5 better CPA than the retargeting campaigns as well. So what does that tell us? Full key takeaways. And I'm going to refer to my notes because I wrote some fantastic words down that I do not want to forget here. I don't want to break into Cocomelon just right at the last hurdle. So the 4 key takeaways here. Make sure you make your messaging very topical, very relevant. Make sure you are disruptive with your messaging, so you're disrupting against your competitors. Use niche content sets so that you've got the contextual tools, but limit the scale. And most importantly, make sure your ads are relevant. The more relevant, the better the results. And that's everything from me. I think I'm going to chat now to John. So thank you for listening. Hopefully you heard me.
Hi everyone. I am not Kieran O'Kane, apologies for that, but I am learning. Contextual advertising, don't call it a comeback.
One of the takeaways from ATS London was that contextual advertising is now so retro it's cool, which I loved. It's having a moment. So why do you think it's so important to the industry right now, and how have you experienced this resurgence over the last few years?
Yeah, hopefully you can still hear me on my lapel mic. Yeah, great. So yes, it definitely is having a comeback. It's definitely not new. But one of the most important things that we need to do as an industry is educate. So we're seeing that although contextual targeting is readily and widely available, not just on our platform, but other platforms as well, it's just not being utilized. It's not known. Advertisers and agencies don't know how to use it effectively. So our biggest challenge over the next year or so is education. So educating on what is contextual, how can we use it effectively. One of the reasons that we're a self-serve DSP, as I mentioned, but we offer a managed service. And one of the reasons we offer that managed service is so that our teams of experts who know the platform can actually then help advertisers and agencies to uncover the abundance of options that contextual gives you. So that's something that obviously will take some time. And then obviously if advertisers and agencies want to move into a more self-serve, once they get to grips with what's available, then that's going to be the future.
Yeah, I think that's one of the power pillars actually for Industry Review APAC this year has been the increase in necessity of the service layer and how more hand-holding is needed through these technological changes and these new trends. So what's the current importance of contextual? What's it going to bring to the industry as it makes its comeback?
Yeah, well, the future is bright. The future is very exciting. And as I heard this morning, I think it was in Rachel's opening, that there's so much untapped potential out there. So even in mature markets like Australia, where they're definitely leading the forefront with contextual, there's so many options with, you know, the digital out of home, with connected TV. You know, we haven't yet even tapped into the options there that are going to be available for contextual across all of those channels. So that's really, I see, where the future will be, where the exciting future is. And not just, you know, in markets which are relatively mature, like Australia, but, you know, markets in APAC which are still not programmatic savvy or using programmatic to its full potential. Now they can use programmatic and contextual over the coming years.
You made a couple of really interesting points about the need for education about contextual and what it brings. And I think a lot of that education comes with measurement and metrics. How are you seeing that side of contextual improve?
Yeah, so measurement and metrics are definitely changing somewhat in some ways, but in some ways they're not. So, you know, what we're seeing is that advertising agencies aren't necessarily asking for the need for new metrics or full transparency. What they want is detailed reporting, but ultimately they want performance. So, you know, that's what we're hearing. Everyone wants performance, and they want to know what tools and tactics they can use to the best of their ability to get performance at scale. So yeah, that's what we're seeing, and that hasn't really changed over the last 10 years.
Yeah, there were some fairly impressive statistics in your presentation. I wondered whether, any particularly caught your eye that you would like to restate, not reassess.
Yeah, I think it's maybe early on in the presentation I talked about the fact that, you know, 49% of media professionals are nervous about contextual, worried about the future. That statistic surprises me. I think probably that should be, or potentially is, a little bit higher than that. And then only 12% are worried about contextual. I think, many don't even understand or know enough about contextual. So I guess that's why today is really exciting, starting that conversation, hearing from marketeers about, you know, what are their needs, what are their challenges, and how can we work together on that.
Great. So as we come to a close, a little bit of future gazing to finish with. At ATS Singapore 2023, what we're going to be talking about in terms of contextual advertising, where's it going?
I would like us to be talking more about maybe market-specific challenges. You know, I think it's great to have, you know, a great audience here today. I would love to, you know, be talking about real challenges in markets like Japan, in markets like India, and hearing from, you know, those marketeers who have specific geographical or market-specific challenges. You know, that's, I think, really exciting, and I think that's what I would like to think we will be talking about next year.
Excellent. Well, looking forward to that one. Thank you so much, Caroline.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.